Hey everyone, Julia from Business Horsepower here, and just wanted to stop by today and first of all thank you very much for the feedback on the video I did about the fact that we need more leaders right now. And since recording that a couple of days ago, I just realized that leaders actually is an acronym. So on our last video we talked about the L, which is for leader self. So today I want to talk about engagement and how engagement, it's always an imperative in business, but now more so than ever, in my opinion. So, according to Gallup, in the UK, only 8% of our workforce is highly engaged, and a massive 19% are actively disengaged. That means that they are actually sabotaging your business. So our dilemma right now as business owners and business leaders is, how do we keep people engaged when we have a situation that is really challenging around us? And what do you need to do as a business leader to keep those team members on board? Because from everything I've witnessed, is the companies that look after their employees during the really tough times are the ones that survive and get greater results in the longer term. Just yesterday, actually, the governor of the Bank of England pleaded with businesses not to lay off staff at this time. And I know for a lot of business owners, the first knee-jerk reaction is, we need to lay off our staff. We need to make the business survive. And I get that at one level. However, as business owners and business leaders, we also have some responsibility to our team members to give them some psychological safety during this time. And I'd like to kind of encourage you to think about what is the longer term game. Because whilst things are really dire for a number of businesses right now, and I really appreciate that, the thing is that this will pass. And what I don't want to happen is that you end up with a depleted workforce at the end of this situation, and there you find yourself struggling to get good talent in because you haven't treated your staff in a great way during these difficult times. So how do we keep our staff engaged during these difficult times? Well, there's a few things that I would really recommend, and I like to use the acronym TLC: trust, leadership, and communication. We all need to be communicating with our teams about what is happening. And this needs to be authentic communication. I'm just reflecting back. I was in the position of leading a team when the company I was working for, Arthur Andersen, in 2002, was embroiled in the Enron scandal. And we had 9 months of not really knowing what was going to happen. And it was a time of massive uncertainty. Nowhere anywhere near on the scale of what we have now, but it was my small example of this. And I learned one really, really important lesson whilst I was leading my team through that situation. And that lesson is that people want to know the truth. So I, as a quite junior manager in those days, a leader of my team, thought that I would protect them by not sharing with them everything that was going on. And actually that was a massive disservice to them, because people want to be treated as adults. Everyone knows what's going on. Our team members aren't ignorant to the challenges our businesses are under and the difficulties that we're all facing. And they know things are going to have to change. But when we try and sugarcoat it, that's when people get upset. So in my case, I wasn't sharing fully what was going on with the team, because in my mind, I wanted to protect them from those hardships that could come down the road. Luckily, I didn't need to make any of my team redundant at that time. However, it had been a real possibility. And my one overriding lesson is, people would rather know what's going on. That gives them a sense of power. They can then decide what they want to do. Maybe they want to move and find a new job. Maybe they want to go into business themselves. Whatever it is, people feel way more empowered when they understand what's going on. So my absolute urge to you as a business leader right now is to communicate with your team, and really communicate. You cannot over communicate at a time like this. But one thing I must say is this communication needs to be authentic. We need to be transparent. As leaders, we don't have all the answers, and that's fine to be sharing that with our team members about what's going on, that we don't have all the answers, but this is what we're thinking about. What are your thoughts on it? And I'm seeing right now some CEOs and business owners stepping up and being really proactive as leaders and communicating really effectively with their teams and with their customers and their other stakeholders. And other CEOs that just seem to have stuck their head in the sand and seem to be ignoring the situation. And that's going to be a real problem. I actually have a situation where I actually do some freelance work for a company. And throughout the whole of the situation so far, I've had no communication from the CEO. All I've had is some perfunctory communication from them about how I need to be washing my hands to deal with coronavirus. But no human-to-human communication. And if we're really going to engage with our teams right now, we need to get into this human-to-human communication. People are craving connection, they're craving leadership, they're craving people to show them the way. And that is really what I urge you to do, to step up, to develop trust with your teams, because of course right now we know prior to this that levels of trust worldwide, according to the Edelman barometer, were at worldwide lows. And actually team members have more trust in their bosses and their organizations than they do in the government. So as leaders, we have a responsibility to be that beacon of trust as well for our teams. So I'd really advocate people adopting TLC, trust, leadership and communication during these times if we're going to keep our teams really, really engaged. There are a few resources that I'd be happy to share with you that you could really help to build engagement. Don't forget, a number of you will have your team members left at home, working at home. This is actually a perfect time, I know it sounds quite strange, to invest in training of your team members. We can do remote training, video training with people. I personally run some online engagement programs that we can run with teams, remote teams around the world. What better way to use some of that time when people aren't in the office and maybe can't be as productive as we would like, to help you leverage their development by investing in them. And trust me, if team members see you investing in them during these difficult times, the level of loyalty and productivity that they have will radically increase. I also just want to share something about a company called Barry Wehmüller and what they did back in 2015, I believe it was, after some of the challenges down in New Orleans. Because then, at that point, the company had about 5,000 people, and faced with some tough economic conditions, they were considering making a number of people in the workforce redundant. However, the CEO, being very, very pragmatic, made some suggestions to the workforce that actually the only way that we collectively, this collective responsibility, could get through the situation was if everyone took 1 month unpaid leave. And that was received really, really well by his team, because everyone appreciated that everyone was going to be in this, and it wasn't some people were keeping their jobs and some people weren't. And in fact, what happened was that all of the team members collaborated together. So for some people, actually taking a month of unpaid leave financially was really challenging for them. And actually what other team members did who were more financially stable was they took 2 months so the other person could continue to work. So I'd also invite you to go out to your team members and ask them what solutions they've got to solve the problems. As leaders, we don't have to do it all ourselves. So get some conversations going with your team members about what they would like to do. What solutions do they see? You might be surprised. Some people might put up their hand and say, actually, yeah, I was thinking about leaving for a while. I'd be happy to take some redundancy now. Like it happened at Barry Wehmüller, they might be, resourceful enough to figure out how they can share the downtime that they had so that everyone collectively survives. Because this is a time right now that we've unprecedented in our world history in terms of what we've seen. And it's also a time where we all need to pull together. That is the only way we're going to get through all of this. And just like my herd of horses who take collective responsibility for making sure everyone in the herd is safe, as business owners and business leaders, I feel we need to take collective responsibility for everyone in our care as well. So your team members want to know that you care for them this time. They want you to communicate with them effectively. They want to be able to trust you, and they want you to show strong leadership of the way. And if you do that, then it's in my opinion anyway, that when we get through this crisis, and we will, whether it's months or, a couple of months or many months, who knows. But when we do come out the other side, you'll have a much more productive and profitable workforce that, in my experience, will just deliver over and above because you've looked after them through the hard times. So those are just some of my thoughts for today. Look out for a webinar I'll be running next week on how to create engagement within your team during these challenging times. So I really hope you found that useful. I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Bye-bye.